They cast you out for deigning to beg them for a few petty soldiers. What will they do when you tell them that you are my ally? When you tell them that Sauron lives because of you!
This is my not shocked face. Welcome, my lords and ladies, to my Rings of Power Episode 8 review, also known as my review of the season finale of Rings of Power. Yes, my friends, we have come through the tunnel. We have reached the other side, somewhat battered, somewhat scraped up, but as a whole, we're okay. You know why? Because this is not Lord of the Rings. It's not Tolkien. It's Amazon's billion-dollar fan fiction that has concluded with more lore-breaking, more out-of-character crap, and basically more cucking of characters that should be in control. It's glorious, gloriously bad. Oh, what do we got today? Oh, you saw it right away. Hey, guess what? It looks like every single leak was true. I said it before and I say it again. Guys like Az and Gary, they weren't going to put the reputation of their channels on the line by giving out lies. Every stand, every show that tried to play up that Gandalf gonna be with Sauron, that everybody else was Sauron. No. Halbrand was Sauron all along. It was blatantly obvious. Every single clue we pointed out was there, and they laid it on really thick in the first half of this episode. They laid it on thick, yet they still tried to play mystery box with you, with Gandalf gonna be and the Feminem trio. They still tried to mystery box it right to the very end, thinking that, oh, the people watching this, they're stupid, they're not gonna catch on. No, everybody caught on. Even if we hadn't known the leak, it was obvious Halbrand was Sauron from the beginning. We got other stuff in here. We're gonna go through it. I'm just glad it's done. But we're not done even after this review. Remember, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Come back right here on this channel where I and my panel, we are going to rip this finale to shreds. It's going to be a crazy affair. We hope to see you there. All right, I'm done rhyming. Oh, let's have some fun, because this is fun ripping it apart.
Galadriel? What has happened?
Enemy lance. 6 days ago. We rode without rest.
I want you to remember that, because to the bitter end, these idiots in charge of this show do not comprehend time. They do not comprehend time. They do not comprehend geography. They don't understand that things have to change. And it's even contradictory in this episode to previous episodes. We're going to get there. Before we get to Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and Sauron, and I'm not even calling him Halbrand anymore. He is Sauron. For Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and Sauron arrive in Eregion, we cut first in the prelude, the prologue to the episode, Gandalf gonna be, and I confidently say now, I don't even call him Mr. Wizard, not Meteor Man, Gandalf gonna be. I used that last week. I'm gonna keep using it now. He's wandering through the wilderness. He's in the Greenwood. Remember Greenwood? Remember something from actual Tolkien? He is wandering through there and blah, blah, blah. He's alone. He's wet. And at one point, notice this part right here. I noticed it. Again, bad editing. Bad editing. He pulls out his fragment constellation piece of paper, wrapped up in the apple that Nori gave him. Notice right here. It has the apple with the paper. And as he's looking at the apple, he drops the constellation scrap. He drops it. Yet, as he sees something move, somebody's out there, he starts moving because suddenly he's holding the constellation paper. Then he's going to trip and fall and drop the apple, and it's going to roll away. You can see it there. And then when we have him standing up, coming over stuff, wow, that apple rolled really far. That apple has learned the magic of teleportation that every single character knows in this series. Even apples can teleport, guys. All right, we're done messing around with that. That's just to show you the bad editing of this show, the bad concept of logistics, not understanding, and forgetting. Because these are bad directors and bad writers, bad showrunners. Anyway, to the actual what's going on here. Gandalf Gunnaby follows what is obviously fake Nori. It turns out to be the guy with really nice tits. He's there, and it's the Feminem trio. They have surrounded him, but no, they bow to him because they say, we're here to worship you, our Lord Sauron. What did I say a couple minutes ago? They're going to play up the mystery box that Gandalf Gunnaby is Sauron to the very end. They think they're being clever. They think this is great writing, giving us the obvious not Sauron as right up alongside the obvious Sauron, who's in Eregion now, because then we cut to Galadriel and Sauron riding across plains. There's Eregion in the distance, and we have a quick conversation between Celebrimbor and Elrond. They're struggling to figure out what to do because Gil-galad is saying, that's it, we're done, we're leaving. It's over, we got to go back home. We have failed to save ourselves because the dwarves would not give us any mithril. All we have is this little piece, the little piece that has been foreshadowed since the moment Durin put it in his boyfriend's hand. Yes, I meant it that way. What happens next is, as they're continuing to go, where, here comes Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and Sauron. They ride in, and there's the clip from the transition. She says, we've been riding for 6 days, no rest. 6 days from the Southlands to Eregion. Those horses must be galloping at 80, 90 miles an hour to get there. That's hundreds, if not 1,000 miles, I believe. That's a long-ass way, but they got there in 6 days. Remember, it's been 6 days since they left the encampment in the Southlands. We're going to come back to that when we have our quick trip to Numenor, or the Numenorians in this case. Just remember it. We're going to come back to it. Anyway, they do elven healing on Sauron, because like he really needs it. He's Sauron. And yeah. Now begins the discussion of, first we get this, all right, I gotta say this. There is a lot of filler conversation and scenery in this episode. They padded the hell. There's at least 20 minutes of unnecessary conversation and scenery in this episode. Totally unnecessary. Although one of it's okay because we get to see Big Tit Sister McGee. We're going to enjoy that in a few moments. Elrond and Galadriel, Warrior Queen, have a sit down. And it's again, you're supposed to see the new humble Galadriel, where she says, Elrond asks her, what are you doing here? And we get fantastic dialogue. Just fantastic dialogue. Like this. Here's the kind of dialogue you get from this conversation.
What are we to do?
The only thing we can do. Swim.
Galadriel's so happy to have her gay best friend back so she can have these conversations where she talks about how, while she was on her way to Valinor, as she stood before the pearly vaginal gates, she could not bring herself to go through because she knew there was still a deepness inside her, that a mission that had to be fulfilled. So she leapt into the water and just started swimming, hoping that things would work out for the best, hoping she'd somehow be able to cross the hundreds and thousands of miles that it would take to get back to the shores of Middle Earth. She just had to keep swimming. She knew she couldn't drown. That's the kind of conversation this is. Really, the continuing theme of really bad metaphors by these horrible writers. It ends with that line. What are we going to do? What are we going to do, Galadriel? Only thing we can do, my gay best friend. We're going to swim. And keep swimming. So we don't drown. It's bad. It only gets worse because here comes the laying it on thick that I talk about. We cut to Celebrimbor basically scuttling his workshop. In walks... Almost said it. Sauron. I'm so used to doing the double name. In walks Sauron and begins to butter him up. butters him up, lays it on thick, talks about, oh, this material you have, these mithril, it's so wonderful. What can you do? And he begins to poke at him. Oh, there's other ways to spread it out. You can make something from it, extend it with other metals. That's what I used to do is when I was an apprentice to another blacksmith. And he butters him in. At one point, at the end of the conversation, this happens. This beautiful thing, again, they're laying it on so thick all over Celebrimbor's face.
Well, that is an intriguing suggestion. Call it a gift.
Oh, yeah, because he's also known as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, laying it on thick. That's the final flag that he is Sauron, because they can't actually use Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, because they don't have the rights to Anatar, Lord of Gifts. So they're just going to have Sauron here say, as Halbrand, consider it a gift. Oh, you're so clever. You worked it in there somehow. That's it. I mean, he's Sauron. He's Sauron. That is the final clue. If you were ever in doubt, he's Sauron. Bunga, 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 bunga. Anywho, we move along to, here's the real stars of the show, as far as I'm concerned. We cut back to Numenor. The king is dying, and Pharazôn has summoned a bunch of girls from STEM to basically sketch his likeness for a future representation for his tomb. And of course, our last chance to get a good look at Big Tits Sister McGee, who of course gets her time with the king. And with her are the two biggest stars of this show, her boobs. The only actual feminine woman in this entire show, I'm serious. Maybe that guy who has nice tits, you could say that's sort of feminine, but he's still a guy with nice tits. Either way, as she's sketching the king, he starts to talk. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he has an episode where he thinks she's Muriel, and he opens the door to the relic chamber and tells her, don't get confused by reality and what you see in the, obviously, Palantir, because I lost my way. And she goes up there and she'll pull it off. She pulls the cloth off the Palantir and we get a really good shot of her boobs. That's it. Done. Bye. Moving right along, we are back in Eregion, where now Celebrimbor, Galadriel, and Elrond are trying to convince Gil-galad that there's a way to save the elves with just this little bit of mithril that we have if we make an object, a circular object, to be worn by a powerful individual, which can stem off the decay. Now remember, the whole Elven plotline is this manufactured bullshit that they're all dying, that they're losing the life of the Eldar, and that only mithril can save them. This is a convoluted fanfic plot that has been inserted into Tolkien lore. Now, Gil-galad is not happy about this idea. He doesn't like the idea of power of one item being powerfully bestowed upon a single individual. And they fail to convince him. He says, that's it. No, this ain't going to happen. We're done. We're leaving. But during this moment, Celebrimbor says, he repeats the phrasing about spirit of flesh and body and this and then to govern it. The whole thing that Adar said 2 episodes ago, before the volcano should have destroyed everybody.
We are on the cusp of crafting a new kind of power. Not of strength, but of spirit. Not of the flesh, but over flesh.
Oh, that's what Adar said. Galadriel, warrior queen's figuring it out. Yay, isn't that awesome symmetry? No, it's just poorly constructed, obvious shit. And now it's an excuse to have Galadriel play Sherlock Holmes now. Oh, I'm going to put it all together because I'm smarter than all these men. But then I'm going to hide it later on and make Elrond do what I say because that's what gay best friends are for. Gil-galad shuts it all down. No, can't do it. We're done. We're leaving. We're dying. The power, the horrible mountain in the east is making everything die faster. I'm going to walk away. before Celebrimbor shuffles off as well, Galadriel pressures him. Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that? Oh, I don't know. I'm talking to my assistants. Was Halbrand there? Oh, no, maybe. F off, bitch. I'm out of here. Leave me alone. I'm going to go sulk. But then we cut to Gil-galad and Femron in the hallway, walking and talking in the hallway, because that's, I guess, what happens in these shows now, all the time. And Gil-galad is not being swayed. Femron pressures him, give me 3 months. He ends up with 3 weeks. And we're good. 3 weeks. We're kind of led to believe the events of the rest of the episode concerning Eregion happens over 3 weeks, maybe not days. I don't know. It's just really, really unclear because this show is unclear about the passage of time. What a surprise. We cut to a nice little sequence of Celebrimbor and Sauron and all Celebrimbor's assistants setting up the workshop, getting ready to get to work, and decided they're going to split it into 2. Not 1 item, but 2. We find that out after Galadriel is sending off some page to start a federal investigation on the lineage of the kings of the South, because now she's got a problem with Sauron. She knows he's Sauron somehow. She's put the piece together when it's all been there in front of her the entire time. The same way the sigil she was hunting for hundreds of years was just a map and looked like Mordor on the map. She's about to go walk away, but here comes Sauron, comes down, praises her, informs her that, oh, we're not going to make 1 item, we're going to make 2 smaller circles. We're working on it. It's great. And he basically looks at her and says, without you, I could never have made it this far. You are my best friend. Now here, my dreams were crushed. My dreams of Sauron plugging Galadriel bent over a stool on a bar table, whatever. It was my dreams were crushed. It's not going to happen. They teased it a lot, but it didn't happen. I'm sad. I'm a little sad inside because of that. I am a little bit sad that it didn't happen. But I can move on. I'm an adult. Looks at her in the eyes. You're the best friend I ever had. I could have gotten this far without you. I'm going to let everybody know that you were the one behind me all this time. Puts a hand on her shoulder, and she's going, She's scowling because that's what Galadriel, Warrior Queen, does. She scowls. Moving right along, we now get to the Battle of Greenwood. Oh, this was so unnecessary.
From shadow you came. To shadow I bid you return.
He is not Sauron. He is the other. The East. He is...
I'm good.
Gandalf gonna be. Here we go. The Battle of Greenwood. It's really convoluted. It's filled with Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings imagery. It's filled with Gandalf-isms. It's all over the place. We're going to go through this as quickly as possible. I really don't want to do a blow-by-blow because it's kind of pointless. I will say the magical displays are well done. That's about the only compliment you're going to get out of me. The magical displays are decently done. That's about it. Anyway, we start with the feminine trio trying to convince Gandalf Gunnaby that he's Sauron, that he has just had his mind has been clouded by those who sent him from above. That's it. And when we go to Rune, distant land in the east, you'll get your memories back, and then you'll be Sauron. You'll do everything because here we've got this thing. Your constellation is called the Hermit's Hat. Kind of sounds kind of like almost like the Grey Pilgrim a little bit. I don't know. But called the Hermit's Hat, and you'll remember everything. And they convince him for a minute. He has an outburst of power, but then they knock him out because they say, oh, he needs to learn to control his power. Anyway, remember last episode when we saw the dirty, stinky hippies were marching off to chase after him, to warn him that the Feminim trio were going to do something to him? Well, now they're there, teleported. But I thought Lenny Henry said people with big feet move faster and big legs move faster in time. No, they're the ones with big feet, legs, whatever. Stupid. You know what I'm saying. Lenny Henry, according to the last episode, if you have longer legs, things move faster. But apparently dirty, stinky hippies can teleport. Oh, they can teleport all over the place during this scene. Anyway, they suddenly have camouflage blanket cloaks with them, which they clearly did not have in the last episode. They did not have them, so now they have them, which allows them to hide, because that's what Harfoots do. They hide in plain sight with camouflage. They decide they have to save him, so they break into two groups. You got Berry Muncher and Nori's stepmom of color to distract the feminine trio who are tying up Gandalf Gunnaby, maybe not, while Lenny Henry and Nori are going to try and free him. All right, two of the feminine trio, the ones that aren't the guy with nice tits, go off to chase after stepmom and Berry Muncher for making animal noises, and Lenny Henry and Nori try to cut Gandalf Gunnaby free, but oh no, it's guy with nice tits. Because Gandalf Gunnaby has an eye change. Oh, he changed shape again. And while that's happening, one of the other feminine trio comes back and throws a dagger into Zach Burrows' gut. I cheered. You know you cheered too. Yes, one of them's going to go down. He falls into what looks like a small ravine, a gully or something like that. He should be out of the picture, but nope, he's going to teleport back into the fight in a little bit. A lot of chaos happens. They managed... Nori is about to get killed by one of the feminine trio, but her stepmom of color has woken up Gandalf Gunnaby, who comes in, throws down some magic, and a magic fight begins. It's eerily similar to Sauron versus Gandalf in Fellowship, with a lot of teleportation using a staff and moving around and flipping. It's a quick little magic battle, but feminine trio manages to overcome Gandalf Gunnaby because, again, the download hasn't completed and he doesn't really know what he's doing yet. He's just kind of instinctively doing shit. Has no control. One point, though, he's about to get killed by guy with nice tits when suddenly stepmom of color has teleported to the top of a tree and throws a rock at the head of guy with nice tits. And he drops his staff. And Nori grabs the guys with nice tits staff and steals it and basically scurries away. But guy with nice tits grabs two globes of fire from the campfire and basically starts to fire all over the place, blow fire. You spit hot fire! You spit hot fire! You guys know what that's from if you're a Dave Chappelle fan. I spit hot fire! But the fire sets everything on fire. And basically then is going to corner Lenny Henry, who is now reappeared. Lenny Henry reappears to throw more stones to help distract. Lenny Henry is teleported. He's still moving pretty well with the gut wound. But they get cornered. And you think, oh, she's going to burn them all alive. No, because Nori has gotten over to Gandalf Gunnaby, convinces him, you're good. I will do all sorts of things for you, with you, you're good. Gives the wizard his staff. And that clicks the download basically into place. Gandalf Gunnaby, as you saw from the transition clip, remembers who he is. He snuffs out the fire because he's Gandalf Gunnaby, who has a familiarity, a kinship to fire. Starts spouting Gandalfism speeches. They say, oh no, you're not Sauron, you're an Astari. You're an Astari! Oh, wow, what a surprise. No, mystery box. Didn't mystery box anybody. We all freaking knew he was a wizard. He blows them all aside, reveals them for who they are, gives another Gandalfism speech, banishes them, creating an spiritual image of a moth, and turns them all into moths, spirit moths. I don't know. More Gandalf imagery. More Gandalfisms happen. Everybody wins the Battle of Greenwood. Battle of Greenwood is won! But Lenny Henry's dying. Yes! Lenny Henry is dying. And they want to watch the sunrise one more time with him. He says, oh, I'm going to go see my missus now. Bye, everybody. And then has this kind of death. His death scene is his eyes rolling back as the sun rises, and he's just sitting there. And then they're going to make their way all the way back to the Harfoot encampment. Teleportation! Yay! Okay. We cut to the sole Numenorian ship heading back to Numenor, with Muriel and Elendil on it. Now, remember when I said way back at the beginning of the review that Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and Sauron rode for 6 days without rest from the Southlands to Eregion. 6 days on horseback. Not resting the horses, nothing. No rest. Those horses should be dead, but that's a whole nother discussion for later. We'll do that on Mordor Country, I'm sure. Now, remember 2 episodes ago when they were rushing to get to Middle-earth to save Arendir and baby mama Bronwyn and badass teenage mustache Theo and all the rabble in the village in front of the watchtower. Remember, they were getting there. They got from Numenor to there in a day and a night. In a day and a night. But 6 days later, they're still at sea from Middle-earth to Numenor. These people are inept. They failed to understand the concept of time. Final episode of the season, they still have not cracked the riddle of time. Morons. All right, we have a very stupid conversation between Elendil and Muriel below deck, where she's trying to move around as though she can see and count the steps so she can pretend that she can see. Remember, she just took little sparks to the eyes and she's blind forever. They have a really drawn-out conversation about traditionalism and sacrifice and what it means to sacrifice in order to do good. Continuing this stupid plot idea that Isildur is dead. Yeah, I know, they're running with it really bad. Well, when they get to the conversation's irrelevant. It's just stupid. I just gave you the bullet points, and they both accept traditionalism as the way to save everything. We have to be loyal to the old ways, even though we must sacrifice to do so. They hear a call from up on deck. They come out. They're back at Numenor. Muriel's got the blindfold on again because they're pretending her eyes are just damaged and she's not blind. She's asking, what's going on, Captain? What's going on? Well, we pan out and you see black banners are everywhere. The king is dead. And we get a shot of what's his name? Farazan, make Numenor great again, standing over the king's deathbed because, make Numenor great again. Because he's gonna be Orange Man bad. That's what he is. Now, this is what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for this. We have teased it all season. It is time for the big reveal that Halbrand is Sauron. We begin with the fact that they can't seem to get the rings made. They're having a problem because the Mithril isn't wanting to meld with lesser materials. But then Halbrand Sauron has the idea. Wait a minute. This is funny as hell because he's just manipulating the whole situation. And now you can blatantly see it, that he's manipulating it all. Why don't we do it like this? Why don't we do it like that, Celebrimbor? Sorry, I almost said Celeborn. Celebrimbor, why don't we do it like this? Try this. Oh, yes, that's a great idea. Celebrimbor is an idiot. He's an idiot in this, as opposed to actual Lord Celebrimbor, who was pretty damn smart. They're now on their way. They're about to give up. They're freaking out that they're running out of time because apparently a week has passed. I don't know. But like I said, they figured out we're going to try to blend it, make them marry together, the lesser minerals and the mithril. It's not working now. Galadriel, she's been given the information she asked for by her federal investigation. She knows that the lineage is broken, and she confronts Halbrand, Sauron, about it. She goes, "Who are you really?" And thus begins the next 15 minutes of the reveal. Now, it went on a little bit too long. And here is where, again, as heel versus babyface was proven right. He has been quoting this line forever. Here's the line right here. Proof that everything was right. All the leaks were true.
I have been awake since before the breaking of the first silence. In that time, I have had many names.
Ooh, the leaks were true. Like I just said, the leaks were true. The leaks were true. We'll sing a song. The leaks are true. Anyway. up until that, right before that point, she'd been pressuring him. Who are you? What are you? You said you were this. No, you said I was that. He goes through the entire season where she was the one labeling him all these things. And he said, I've always ever been your friend. I've never lied to you. And he has never lied to her once. I don't think they realize the portrait they've painted, that she is an idiot. That Galadriel, Warrior Queen, is a moron. That he simply stood there and let her fill in all the blanks. Never lied to her. As you see right there, she lunges at him with her dick dagger. He catches it like it's nothing and then basically proceeds to mind F her. Goes into her head, takes her all the way back to Valinor with her brother, and tries to whammy her, and does the whole thing saying, tell me, sister, what have you done with all the stuff? You carried on my mission? No. My mission was not to find Sauron. My mission was a mission of peace. And Sauron only wants peace. And we get some fake tears from Morfydd Clark. Of course they're fake tears, but they're even faker because she can't emote. After he says to her, touch the darkness. Translation, Sauron wants her to touch his darkness. Oh, why didn't you give it to me? I wanted it. You would have made my day. She rejects him, and he yells, Galadriel! And it shifts to the raft, where they have this the clip, my opening gambit clip, where basically this entire conversation is sort of pretty much ripped from Cate Blanchett's famous Galadriel speech when Frodo officer of the Ring Fellowship. It's pretty much ripped from all of that and reshuffled around, a few little words here and there, but that's all it is, as basically Sauron tries to convince Galadriel to join him. She can be his queen. They need to do this because everything will be all right. Just come with me. And I'm thinking, yes, kiss her, make out with her at least once. Do it. Do it! While holding her dick dagger in his hand. Eventually, though, she says, no, I won't do it, because to me, ruling and peace, those don't go. Ruling over everybody and bringing peace, that's not the same thing. Whatever. Really bad dialogue. Again, butchering Cate Blanchett's monologue from Fellowship. And that causes him to freak out at her, saying, you saw in the opening clip, oh, they're not going to trust you because you're my ally. You saved Sauron. And then eventually, when she threatens to kill him, he goes all shock face in her like that, and then she's drowning. She's drowning. He tossed her in the river and ran in reality when he failed to completely MF her, mind F her. Femron finds her, lifts her up, says, okay, what are we doing here? What's going on? And she says, do you trust me? I can't tell you, but do you trust me? And she basically bullies him. We're back to her bullying him into doing what she wants. Because she knows that part of her knows they cannot continue with the forging of the rings because it's what Sauron wanted. And here comes some butchering of the lore. She grabs him. They run to the forge because it's already almost over at this point. It's almost over. But she gets there. Celebrimbor's ready to go. Sauron's gone. She says, we will never see him again. And if we do not treat with him. Trying to sound all Tolkienian with their words. And I'll call back to Return of the King. Who here has the power to treat with me? You know, that kind of shit. They're trying to sound Tolkienian, but they're failing. And here is where Galadriel, Warrior Queen, steals Celebrimbor's thunder. Femrond already stole his thunder with the whole dwarf arc. And now Galadriel, because the leaks were true when it said it was her idea to make 3 rings. Not 2, but 3. Here it is. Changing of the lore, stealing it, cucking Celebrimbor.
So, do we proceed?
No. We must make 3.
As I understand it from the lore, it's Celebrimbor who, realizing that Sauron has tricked him as Anatar, Lord of Gifts, he makes the Elven rings in secret. Separate from what Sauron is doing, which angers Sauron later on, because the Elven rings are therefore not connected to the One Ring. The elves realize what's going, and when Sauron does his monkey business later with the One Ring, they take their rings off so that they're not affected, so the elven rings remain pure, untainted. It was Celebrimbor who was the mastermind on this. He was his genius, his idea. Nope! In Rings of Power, it's Galadriel, Warrior Queen. No, we're going to make 3 rings. And it doesn't end there. The cucking, the destroying of this wonderful lore, tainted, literally tainted. The elven rings in Rings of Power are tainted because Celebrimbor then goes, we need special secondary alloys, purest of pure, the best we can get. We need silvery gold from Valinor. Galadriel, we need your dick dagger. Yes, Galadriel inserts her dick dagger into the elven rings. The dick dagger's purpose was to... Her brother's dagger, Galadriel's dick dagger, is the elven rings. The elven rings are the dick dagger. She has to part with it. She must... The theme of the episode, in order to achieve something good, you must sacrifice something. We're going to come back to this in a moment because we now have to go to this extremely long and unnecessary scene in Stinky Hippie Town. As I said, Gandalf, Gunnaby, Nori, stepmom of Goer, and Barry Muncher have teleported back to the Harfoot encampment. Long story short, Barry Muncher's going to become the new trail finder, the new pathfinder. Everybody's sorry Sadek is there, but they're back to saying stay on the trail, stay together, forgetting the fact that they're all freaking psychopaths who leave you behind and maybe even eat you if they need to. Meanwhile, Nori has conversations with Gandalf Gunnaby, filled with Gandalfisms about hope and future and what's a journey, what's an adventure, what's a this, what's a that. It's Gandalf all over the place, words pulled right out of Tolkien dialogue and and Peter Jackson trilogy dialogue. It's all there, leading up to the point where Hobo Baggins and family say to Nori, you have to go with him on your adventure. You got to go. You're great for things. They even say you're bold. You're bold and you're brave. Oh, women's virtue signaling checkbox complete. You're bold, you're beautiful, and you're brave. You're going to go forth and have an adventure with Gandalf Gunnaby. And she's going to go. And now the Harfoots all mosey away. And meanwhile, again, on the way out, we get a conversation between them. And she goes, how do we know which way to go? That way, I don't know, it smells sweeter. Follow your nose. Oh, Gandalf Gunnaby. Now, here's horrible lore breaking. According to my research, Gandalf never went to Rune. Gandalf went to Rune. The only character that we know of was Aragorn, and those he didn't record his journey. We don't know what he did over there. Gandalf never went to Rune, but now Gandalf Gunnaby with his bestest little possibly sexual partner, Nori. I make the joke. We're probably going to make it more, and this is Mordor country. They're off to an adventure in Rune because his nose will lead them there. That's it. This went on for something like 15 minutes. Way too long. That was it in a nutshell. Moving on, we now get a montage of the creation of the Elven Rings of Power. Montage. Melting down Galadriel's dick dagger so it can be blended with the mithril. And at one point, when Femron is holding the mithril over it, he hesitates because, hey, that was a gift from his boyfriend. He doesn't want to give that up, but he has to. So he drops it in there. And then you watch it all swirl around. And meanwhile, a lot of imagery of people walking in circles with Femron walking around the river where he found Galadriel an hour ago, I guess. I don't know. He finds the lineage chart that Galadriel got to prove that Halbrand didn't exist. There was only ever Sauron. He figures it out, but before he can stop the rings from being made, he gets up there. She gives him a look, basically the bullying look. You shut up, white boy. You shut up, gay best friend. We are doing this. And they make the rings, and here they are. We're going to come back to this in a moment. There are the Rings of Power, Elven Rings. topped off with some crystals that we saw early in the episode. We'll talk about more on that on Mordor Country. And then we cut to Sauron in Mordor, looking at Mount Doom, knowing his destiny, and he's ready to go off to make the One Ring, or probably the Rings of Men and the Dwarven Rings. That's what he's off to do. That's next season, guys, because the time crunch. Time crunch. We're going to talk about that on Sunday. There it is. Episode. We did it. All right, let's have some closing thoughts, shall we? As we walk out the door of this season finale, I want to comment on two things just to make note of. One, as we fade out on Sauron marching towards Mount Doom, they cut to this horrible song talking about the Rings of Power. 3 rings for elves, 9 for men, 7 for dwarf lords. Basically reciting the Cate Blanchett monologue from beginning of Fellowship with somebody who can't sing to save their lives. It's horrible. We'll talk about that more on Mordor Country, because I'm sure we will have to. It's horrible. But here's what I really want to talk about on the way out the door here. Here they are again, the Rings of Power, Elven rings. They look like costume jewelry, because let's put them up right up against the Peter Jackson trilogy Elven rings. Ooh, those look majestic. They're subtle. You can feel the power emanating from them, as opposed to costume jewelry. Costume jewelry. $1 billion fan fiction. $60 million an episode. You couldn't come up with something that looked better than costume jewelry? This is pathetic. You could walk into a Walmart and buy something that looks like that. Or forget a Walmart, a Hot Topic, or whatever you call those things. You can walk and buy something out of there. That's cheap looking. There's nothing powerful and majestic about those. As opposed to, again, the Elven rings we see in the Peter Jackson trilogy. We can now definitively say the Rings of Power failed. Failure. The stands are taking copium by the handful every hour on the hour to deal with. The shills, they're bought and paid for. This was not Tolkien. This was not Lord of the Rings. They broke lore across the board. They stole plot arcs from one character multiple times, Celebrimbor, and gave them to other people to make them look like something. They turned Galadriel into Galadriel Warrior Princess, eventually graduating to Galadriel Warrior Queen. They had sexual tension between her and Sauron. They tried to mystery box us to hell with who's Sauron? Who's Sauron? Sauron was Halbrand. You could tell from the minute he arrived on the scene. Things are not what they always appear to be. Every time along the way, it was obvious. But the shills tried to push that Gandalf gonna be was him. Oh, I forgot to mention at one point during our conversation, he says, your translation in your language, I'm wizard. Translation of what I am in your language is wizard. So he is a wizard. He's Gandalf gonna be. Sorry, I forgot that part. I was hurrying at the end there because that scene was so boring and so stupid. Point being, they forced mystery box on you, but then again, Payne and McKay, they are second generation bad reboot. That's all they know how to do, mystery box. Season 2, at least 2 years away, probably 3. This is not going to go well for Amazon. It's not going to go well for anybody involved with this project because it's been a disaster. Panned, real fans turned away. But hey, I had fun destroying it. And again, we're going to have fun Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here back on this channel for This Is Mordor Country. Possibly the final episode of the year because we're put it on the shelf until season 2. But join us as the panel and I tear it to shreds because it deserves it. All right. Thank you, one and all. Thank you for joining me for this journey through Rings of Power Season 1. I hope to see you in Season 2. I hope to see you in other reviews and other videos on this channel. Thank you for being here. Remember to hit that like button. Send a comment if you had a good time. And I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach out to me at therennerd@gmail.com. That email's for channel business only, so I check it on a daily basis. Also, you can find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can find me at Rumble and Odyssey, The Renaissance Nerd. Thank you again. See you next time.